Hey there, it's Angela, and I'm so glad you found your way here to architecting. Creative careers can be stressful, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but this is your landing pad for raw honesty. I'll help you get clarity, reconnect with your passion, and have the career of your dreams. If you're ready to make a difference, have an impact, and say bye bye to burnout, stick with me and let's get architecting. Hey, Bright Lights, it's Angela, and welcome back to Architecting. I am so glad you are here. It is New Year's Eve, the very last day of 2024. Wow, what a year it has been. I want to thank you for being part of the architecting community as a listener to this podcast, someone who's coached with me or taken one of my classes or bought one of my books. I really appreciate you. Just on this podcast, we've seen a 20% increase in followers in 2024. I recorded 42 episodes, 10 of which were some exclusive interviews. Also really focused on my YouTube channel, and I've got some great bonus content up there. Supplemental info to the podcast, exclusive coaching clinics, my brand new Space Doctor series that takes my work on salutogenesis, aka the science behind design for well-being, and puts it into this really fun exclusive card deck. And every week I pull cards and talk about what they mean, and they become your prompt for the week. I believe the cards come out for a reason. There's over 60 cards in the deck, but I've already pulled a lot of the same cards, which to me says we need to focus on those issues. So I hope you will join me on the YouTube channel and check out that new series. It's a lot of fun, and I hope it inspires you. And we have just under a week before my leadership challenge starts. It is all about how leadership unlocks your path to success and abundance. And I think we could all use a little bit more of that in 2025. So make sure you get in. This is a really fun way to kick off the new year. We focus on different issues of leadership because a lot of times we think leadership means just being an authority figure, but it doesn't. It means being a visionary, being able to support the visions of others, being able to hold that vision even when things can come up that are challenges or obstacles, and see how to move through them, see how to learn from them, see how to evolve. When you are in that energy, you are not in an energy then of having to protect, defend, or prove yourself anymore. And I know in my own career, but also in the career of so many others that I've worked with over the years, or those of you in the audience I've heard from, that whole protect, defend, prove happens as we try to develop in our careers. And it is really not the energy of a leader, even though you may know people who are in leadership roles who demonstrate a lot of that protect, defend, prove. Those aren't really the leaders we want to follow. They're the ones that everybody's talking about behind their back and complaining about and trying to circumvent. As soon as I stopped being in that mode, I unlocked so much more success for myself, but also leadership. More opportunities within my firm, as well as through the work that I do independent of that, through the architecting community, through my advocacy work, through my work with the AIA, all because I stopped worrying about that kind of stuff. So in this leadership challenge, you'll really see how to stop being in lack-based thinking, how to stop overperforming and proving yourself. Stop seeking validation. Stop over-credentialing yourself so you can prove your worth. Or the opposite, shutting down, deciding you don't care or that you're too busy to really pursue your dreams because you've already decided that it's not worth it, or you're not going to get anywhere. And not having that valuable personal connection with people because you dive right in, you're all business, you're so serious. If you want to take your career to the next level, if you want agency as a leader, you really have to tap into your authenticity, and that is the game changer. We start on January 6th. That is just a little less than a week away. It is 15 minutes a day. That is it for 12 days. You can do this. You can do this. It is super easy. You just listen in the morning, follow the prompts, go about your day trying to use it. Trust me, if you commit to this, you will see a difference at the end of those 12 days. Made it super accessible and affordable. It is just $30. So make sure that you get in, as you are going to learn about how to speak up strategically, how to lead with the message, how to stop overperforming and asking for the opportunities that you want. Stop playing defense as you work to position yourself as a leader. Be better able to read the room and create psychological safety and really motivate others, right? Because leadership isn't about being the lone wolf out there who can do everything. You don't have to be the expert. I tell this to my son all the time. He's trying to work on his Eagle Scout project and he's trying to do too much on his own. And I'm like, you don't have to know. Knowledge is knowing where to find it. Tap your resources. That is what a leader does. Leader doesn't have to be an expert. A leader has to know how to bring people together and get things done that align with the vision and the mission. This sounds good to you. If you are ready for a fresh start in 2025 to really take your career to the next level, go check it out on my website, architectingpodcast.com. You will see the leadership challenge right there. Click on it and sign yourself up today so you do not miss out. Looking back at the 2024 top 10 episodes, leadership really emerged as a big theme. And I talked to a whole bunch of people who are leaders in many, many different ways. In every single case, this proved to be true. So our most popular episode was my interview with Graciela Carrillo, who is an advocate for immigrant architects and women architects. And she talked about organic leadership. She has, in her career, forged a lot of new paths, but she didn't wait to prove herself, to get those special skills or experience. Instead, she just advocated for the things that she knew mattered. You don't make an impact by yourself. You build a container for others who also care about that issue. By working together, you inspire each other. She talked about getting really clear on what you're passionate about, finding data about that issue, and using the numbers to show where and how you can make a difference, and saving the receipts so you can show the results of your action. That is something so many people who are aspiring leaders forget to do. Those receipts show that your efforts paid off, that they made a difference. She also shared that you qualify yourself. So when you say yes to the things that matter to you, which you know I am always harping on, you bring value not only because you have expertise, but because you can build a network. You can inspire people. You can spread your message. And if you're an introvert like me, this is something that is transformative as a strategy, because you don't have to talk about yourself. You get to talk about your work, your issues, the things that matter to you. And that makes it so much easier to reach out to people, to engage in those conversations that matter. And finally, we talked about finding mentors and how important that is. Always look for people that are ahead of you in the game. They can help you overcome roadblocks that you're hitting because they might have hit them too. They can introduce you to people. They can help you reframe something that you might feel discouraged about and help you see the progress you've really made. Our second episode in the top 10 this year was Embrace the Cringe, your call to inspired action. In this episode, I talked all about how perfectionism is the enemy. It isn't inspiring, it isn't inclusive, but it is exhausting. So if you want an impactful career, you have to do it messy. It matters that you made progress. Every single day is your starting line. Failing is just a way of learning. It is not a setback. Don't let past failures, don't let that sense of, oh my God, I can't believe I did or said that. Embrace that cringe. It is a sign that you've evolved. In the moment that you were doing something, it felt right. And the fact that you can look back at it now and say, oh my gosh, I was so primitive back then, means that you've evolved. You have to see risk as an adventure. You have to take big actions, or you never really see progress. You just end up where you were yesterday. Just be authentically yourself. Focus on what you care about, being sincere, and also know that you are not meant for everyone. That was a real light bulb moment in this episode. It's okay if not everybody likes you because it means that you are standing for something. If people didn't have a strong feeling about you, that would mean you weren't having an impact. It's okay to boldly take action, and it is okay to fail. Our top 3 episode was my New Year's Day episode, Make 2024 Your Year of Inspired Living. I talked all about how to set the tone for the year, we really needed to understand that inspiration isn't about checking the boxes on somebody else's list. It is not prescriptive. You have to put joy seeking in the driver's seat. You have to do what is fun. You have to do what holds your interest. Only by doing that kind of work can you conquer the stress, the overwhelm, the burnout that everybody's always talking about. Truly successful people are not any less busy than you are. It's just they love what they do, so they don't feel overwhelmed, stressed out, or burned out because they are joyful and they are living in purpose. Make succeeding your new normal. Know that you were meant to keep growing. Stop doing things out of obligation or for validation. Are you noticing that theme back to don't protect, defend, prove? Don't focus on setting goals or achieving outcomes. Focus on how you want to feel. Because if you do what feels exciting to you, you will be successful at it. Nothing will stop you. Nothing will hold you back. You will just keep pursuing it. And the more you start to see it develop and grow, the more excited and inspired you will be. And that is an exponential thing. Episode number 4. I got a lot of email on this episode. It was workism is a joy killer. Workism is working really hard and only caring about prescriptive goals. But that's not the path to your dream career. It is some bad Kool-Aid that often gets pushed in our industry. It is really just your fast track to burnout because there's no purpose behind it. Again, this episode talked about how to add more joy to your life. So we talked about how to find the high ROI tasks versus the low ROI tasks, and that self-care is a high ROI investment. It's not always about working harder. We talked about letting go of control, which as a recovering control freak, I feel your pain. There's a strategy just simple as care less. Assume positive intent to get more positive responses back. Talked about reframing so that, again, we're revisiting that sense of the cringe or fear of failure. And instead, we're looking for the lessons learned. We're looking for the clarity we got, not worrying about what we might lose. Back to that defending energy and how to move past the need to be right. Instead, focus on how to get progress. Also, in this episode, we talked about having healthy boundaries and giving ourselves permission to do what is fun. Episode number 5, how to stop outsourcing your power. We often forget how much big energy we all have. And that's because we're too busy outsourcing it to other people. What do I mean by that? Well, in this episode, I talked all about how worrying about someone else's real or imagined reactions to what you do will influence your choices and your behavior. And when you do that, you are sacrificing your agency and your identity. That is exhausting. It takes away your clarity, purpose, and also takes away the fun. Are you noticing the theme? Joy, fun, self-care, clarity about your preferences and your path. Letting that inform what you do. I talked more about how to meet resistance with curiosity instead of defensiveness, how to shift your view of situations. And I talked about a really cool hack for reframing situations, which is assuming that people are happy with you unless someone tells you otherwise. Instead of sitting there going, I'm so tired of my boss mansplaining everything, or my colleague preempting me, or this client always throwing cold water on the good ideas. What would happen if you assumed that, first of all, you are a delight, you have value, and that the things you're saying matter? And if somebody preempts you, it must be because what you said was that important. And you can react to that instead of fuming with anger or being sarcastic or withdrawing. And you can react to that by saying, exactly. Thank you for emphasizing what I just said. If somebody's trying to shut down an idea, you can say, no innovation happens without risk. And I appreciate you pointing out those risks so we can unpack them right here and right now. You immediately have reclaimed the power in the situation. This was a really great episode, and I hope that you will go and listen. Number 6 was tower moments. So this was an interview that I did with Whitney Alexandra, and we talked about embracing change and prosperity. She talks about how we work so hard trying to maintain, but in the maintaining, we don't grow. How do we let go? How do we navigate transitions? How do we do what we love as well as know our own worth? You definitely want to listen in here for clues that you need to change, how to focus on the good stuff and celebrate incremental successes, how to get past fear of change and replace your inner critic with an inner champion, how to believe you are good enough to try, and the value of persistence and training yourself to feel good about success. I really loved this talk because so often we fear success more than we fear failure. And we sabotage ourselves so that we can stay in our comfort zone because success means change and we don't like change. part of leadership is knowing how to sell your work, yourself, your ideas. And episode 7 was an interview with John Tyerman on marketing strategies to build the business that you want. He talked about sales not being a dirty word and some strategies to show how the work you're doing makes a difference. The difference between what you want to do and what you're able to do, which is a really common pitfall, and how to offer a specific service to a specific audience so that you can sell to your ideal clients. You definitely want to tune into this episode. Learn more about how to build your personal differentiators, how to make clients aware of it, something called expertise marketing and how that works, and how to speak to that one person who is your ideal client. Episode number 8 was an interview with Dr. Tori Ellis. She talked about creating your own career lane. This idea that leadership is about doing what you love, being an example, pursuing what you're passionate about, being positive. If you can't say hell yes, then you need to listen to this episode, because Dr. Tori talks about how to be your own advocate and create your own unique path. She details how to use this strategy called converging your interests. Focus on self-care as it means to getting more clarity, having fun as your guide as to whether you should prioritize something or offload it, how to create your own career path instead of following somebody else's template. And she also talks about how to keep the forward momentum going so that you can start to really see exponential success. Episode number 9 was how to overcome negative bias. Now, this is a survival mechanism that we have as human beings. We look for what could be wrong because that's usually the signal of what could be the danger. However, that biological function doesn't really help us in the modern life because the things that we're seeing as threats many times are really just a threat to our ego, and it causes us to get stuck in lack-based thinking. In this episode, I talk about being a fixer. That is an aspect of perfectionism and trying to control things, and it really just keeps us stuck in struggle. I also talk about how that negative bias leads to fear of being judged, which means that we are basically betraying ourselves and not being in integrity. All the while, we're denying our own fulfillment and happiness, the things that would generate energy, and we're spending it instead trying to put on the facade for other people. This is a great episode. It really focuses on the need to fix, the need to control, the need to micromanage, and how that hurts us and the people in our lives because it stunts their growth and their development, which as a leader, you gotta grow your staff, people. You gotta help other people move up. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing it right, and you're creating a lot more work for yourself. Episode 10 was my interview with my friend and colleague, Noam Platt. This guy is amazing. In addition to being a rising star healthcare architect, he's also an AI expert and tech whiz, and that led him to form a nonprofit. As you may know, the proceeds from sales of anything I do at Architecting, whether you buy my books, buy a class, or coach with me, a percentage of all of those sales is donated to charity. And I have adopted Make Good as the official charity of Architecting the last 2 years because I think the work that they do is so powerful. This is the perfect summation to everything I've been talking about here with leadership. Doing what you love, converging your interests and making your own lane, not worrying about judgment, being an advocate. All of this exists in Make Good. Noam and his team that he just keeps on growing and has formed partnerships with universities and corporations. It has really helped to invent and then to fabricate mobility assistive devices. Everyone from toddlers with developmental disabilities who get movement independence to musicians who've lost their ability to play due to a stroke, to people in wheelchairs who need to have the path smoothed just a little bit more for them. Even the smallest details impact experience, and as a leader, you get to question everything and look at ways to make experience better. You can let people from all parts of your life inform your career and forge alliances that can help you design better. You don't have to have a lot of time or super skills. All you have to do is be willing to say yes when you see a need. These top 10 episodes of 2024 are something you should go back and take a listen to. Every single one of them is super valuable, will help you get out of that exhausting protect, defend, and prove energy that is hurting your effectiveness as a leader. And don't forget to sign up for my leadership challenge. It's $30. We start on January 6th. It goes for 12 days, 15 minutes each day. And you can put what you are hearing in these episodes to work, and I guarantee that you will see a difference. I really hope to see you there. Just go to architectingpodcast.com and you can sign up right there on the front page. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Don't self-sabotage. Step into a year where you are a leader who is truly bringing about joy and transformation and inspiration to everyone you touch with your work. Thanks again for listening. Love you all, and I will see you next year. Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.